940, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Gray. This is Ms. Mala.
Miss Mala?
Yeah.
Oh, Mula, yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Everything's going great. I just thought I'd call in before I got too exhausted.
Yeah. Been a long day, huh?
Oh, kind of a long day, yeah. Well, I really haven't had that many crime experiences. I could tell you kind of about a creepy experience I had on like an internet forum one time.
Yeah, let's hear it. What is it?
Oh, okay. Well, it was it was a internet forum that no longer exists now, and
what's it called?
So,
MySpace?
Oh, it was called I think it was brownpride.us.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means, but anyways,
okay. Well, it was kind of like a political forum, and they kind of talked about controversial subjects, and I Googled like a specific subject one time, and it took me there, and it was just kind of a real varied forum. I think it started out being a Latino forum, but it was like, it just had a huge variety of people from all over the world, and but anyway, it's not on there anymore.
Yeah. Well, what happened?
Oh, okay. So anyway, so I just got to where I was talking to a lot of the people, and we would PM, like private message each other and everything. And there was this girl on there named Amy Calamaco, C-A-L.
Well, you don't need to put her. You don't need to say what her name is. We don't know what you know what's going on. Just.
Oh well, she was murdered. So.
Oh wow.
She was murdered. So there's like internet information about her murder. So. So she's actually a public person, sadly, at this point. So that's kind of what was creepy. Is the guy that wound up murdering her also used to private message me, and they were kind of having an internet romance. And he was getting like really depressed because she wasn't paying enough attention to him. So he hacked in her account, and he went all the way, like from Arkansas to North Carolina, where she lived, and did a murder-suicide. And I had been talking to both of them on the forum, and the day before he went over there, he was like depressed, and I was trying to like PM him, like encouraging things, and I told him, well, you know, my husband and I are in Texas, and we're going to come to Hot Springs soon because you live near there. I said, why don't you meet us, and we'll just have a nice day and everything. And he's like, oh, you almost make me want to call off what I intend to do. And then the next day he went and killed that girl. I had no idea. I just knew he was depressed.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's crazy. What made you think that wasn't like a crime-related story? That sounds like what we were talking about. You know.
Well, it wasn't mine, but I was just indirectly in it. And then like a week later, I'd noticed that neither one of them had been posting, and so somebody that knew them eventually came on and wrote that he had killed her and then killed himself. He went to where she worked and killed her.
Why did he do it?
Yeah.
What was the reason?
He was just crazy in that way. He was like a really brilliant guy. He and I used to talk about geology and rocks of different kinds, and see, that's what my husband and I were going to do. We were going to go and dig in the diamond field near Hot Springs and go like get crystals and stuff. And I told him, well, why don't you come and join us, and maybe we'll help you out of your depression, because he was in this deep depression. But he just had this infatuation with her and they were having this online love affair. And she just told him that she'd actually met someone in real life and she didn't want to meet him anymore, and that made him go kill her.
That just, He sounds like he's just some kind of a psycho or something.
He hacked into her email and found out where she worked somehow, and he went there and killed her. And he shot another woman, but she ran out. I think she was just caught in the crossfire because they both ran out of the building when they saw the gun. And the girl, Amy, she was murdered, and and I had talked to her also, and she was like really, really sweet. I mean, I talked to her on the forum. So it was really a weird thing.
What was the reasoning? She just didn't want to see him anymore, or something like that, or I was kind of I was reading it. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's sort of the classic thing. What the classic thing, It's like. But
he hadn't even met her. They just, talked over the internet. But they were gonna meet, and so it was really weird because he didn't seem that crazy like that.
Well, it sounds like he's nuts. Like, I mean, maybe there's a reason. Like, did you guys ever see what he looked like or anything, or?
Yeah, well, I did after the murders. I hadn't seen him before then.
Maybe he was just, tricking people. And then once she saw him,
I was friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was friends on Facebook with the girl. We'd become friends on Facebook from the forum, but he and I, we just PM back and forth mostly about our interest in minerals and crystals and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, that was just a creepy thing. It just really affected me a lot. And I printed out that, those emails he sent me just so I could look back over them. And I felt kind of guilty because I kept thinking, because he would mention her to me and how she wasn't paying attention to him. And I thought, my God, could I have really picked up something and warned her? But no, I couldn't have.
Yeah, and she probably had no idea that he was like that at all.
No.
That's scary.
So, that's just what's so scary. You got to be really, really careful. Even with simple stuff like that.
I mean, women can be like that too, where they get obsessive over somebody, but it just seems like the guys, there's so many, it's just crazy, right? Like, oh, are you? Yeah. I think you're breathing. I don't know if that's you breathing into the phone or something, but it's really loud. Like it's hard to hear. Is that maybe it's just sort of something brushing against the mic or something? I don't know.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, my sister always tells, and I've got long hair, so it might be. I'm kind of pacing back and forth. I'm a little bit nervous. I'll stand still.
Oh, you don't have to be nervous. Jeez. Wow. Well, that was an interesting story. I guess it's another one of those things. Be careful who you're talking to out on the internet. Okay. There's a lot of pretty crazy people out there that are tricking people into thinking they're normal, but they're not.
Yeah. Well, do you have another call waiting? I had another quick story, but if you need to go, that's fine.
I do not have another call waiting.
Oh, okay. Well, this was back in the late 1990s when I was a lot younger, and I was living in a small town in Texas. I don't know if I should. I guess I can tell the county. Maybe I shouldn't say the specific town. It was Wise County, Texas. And they're all small towns, or they were at the time. And the town I was in, there was this really weird guy. I was like probably about 24 then, and he was 17. And I had been friends with his mother, and he had been like in a mental hospital, and he'd come back home. And So he started with coming out on the porch talking to us and everything. And so it wasn't long before he was like coming around my house at night. Like, I lived on this plot of land that just had woods behind it, and he would start looking in my windows and stuff. And then finally he started trying to break in. And I called the police, but he'd always be gone when they came. And so then one night I came home, and he had broken in my house, and he was trying to attack me. And so at this time, my boyfriend at the time, he came over, and the headlights scared this guy away, the headlights coming into my driveway, and he ran out the back door. So I called the police again, and they wouldn't even go talk to him. They wouldn't do anything. And so he kept harassing me, and the police just wouldn't do anything. And I kept trying to talk to people around town that I knew about it, and they said that his brother-in-law was part of a big drug ring, and that the police were in on it, and that it was a totally corrupt police department. And so that was another experience I had that was just really bad, because I couldn't get any help because the police were all kind of in cahoots with the big drug dealer in the county.
Wow. Well, at least I mean, those are interesting stories. You have two of them.
Yeah.
You should do like memoirs of Mola. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty much the only things that have come close to touching me, and I hope that's as close as it ever gets. So. Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for calling in. Somebody did just call in now, so you were the first, though. You got the ball rolling.
Okay,
thank you.
Great to talk to you, Gray.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye. 440, you're on the air.
Hi, Gray. This is Kim F. Sharp. How are you?
Kim F. Sharp. Hey, pretty good. How are you doing? What's the F? What does that mean, the F Sharp? Like, why? What's the significance?
Well,
for you,
the F is the first letter of my last name, so I just was putting a character in, and I also do some music, so I thought it was kind of appropriate.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, well, I love your show,
and
lose some sleep on the Eastern Standard Time, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, the thing is, even when I do my show here, by the time I get to sleep every night, it's usually about 2:30 or so. So, I guess right now it's, what is it, 1:14 over there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's like when I get off this, when I'm done with the show, I always end up I'm always like too wound up. I go over some stuff. Then I get into bed and I watch like a couple episodes of, Stranger Things or whatever the hell is the new show. And then usually during the second one, I get too tired and I fall asleep. So.
Well, I have a T-shirt and the mug. So
awesome.
Really think, yeah, it's a great show. So I have a situation, and I wasn't quite sure how to approach it, but there's so my sister and my brother are actually my half brother and sister. They had a different dad, and so years ago, my mother got divorced, and so but it was very amicable. It was back in the day when things could be amicable, and then my brother and sister's father got remarried to a lady named Helen, and so they had moved to Florida in the 80s, and he passed away. His name was Mike, and he passed away. And so Helen continued to live in Florida, and then we all kind of lost touch with her. My brother and sister really had more of a connection to her than me. I was pretty young. I'm the same age as you are, 53.
Yeah.
So, we really hadn't talked to her, and the last time I saw her was in the early 80s. We found out last year she was murdered in Florida at the age of 90, and it was pretty brutal. She actually owned several at least, I mean, two that I know of, two apartment complexes. So she was a real estate person, and she was 90, but still obviously very functioning and living in this little house next to the apartment building. And it's never been solved. And there's some articles out there on the internet. Yeah, and it upsets me. It upsets my mother a lot. And I just would like to do something, and I'm not quite sure what to do.
Well, we could do a show on it if you want. I mean,
oh, that would be awesome.
Like if you have enough, get like, well, it doesn't really matter how much information. I mean, whatever information you have, you probably have more than other people. We could just do a show and try to figure out what the hell happened. Yeah, like.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna find any more out than. I don't know are the police that interested in it? Like, I mean, a 90-year-old, they're probably like, yeah, geez, she lived her whole life.
Well, yeah, and that's a great question. I have not called there. My sister did, but she just doesn't have a lot of information. They said it was still active, but they just didn't have any information. She did not have a lot of family. Her son passed away, and I can send you all this information. I understand she had grandkids.
Who is she?
I don't know them.
How is she related to you again?
She is my brother and sister's stepmother.
Oh, okay.
So my mom's first husband's second marriage. Back in the 70s.
Oh, okay. That's complicated.
So yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's complicated. I was trying to think. Let's see, my mother's.
Yeah. That's why she's kind of a relative, I guess. Maybe I didn't need to give all that background, but I'm not close as far as keeping in touch. So, but I still feel very deeply grieved.
Why would anybody brutally murder a 90-year-old? Like, that's crazy. Like, when you say brutally murdered, what happened to her?
So according to the news articles, and they're still out there online, she was hit over the head, and then they poured bleach all over her. And so, we're praying that she wasn't alive when that happened.
Why'd they do? I mean, what would be the? I mean, bleach is usually to cover up like DNA of some kind. Normally,
I believe. Yeah, probably because she was she owned the property, and people used to come and talk to her, and maybe she collected rent. So it was probably a robbery motivation, I would think. I'm not 100% sure, though.
But I wonder why they'd have to cover her with bleach. There wasn't any kind of sexual assault, was there? I mean, that's crazy.
Not that I know of. I know, it's terrible. And I haven't called down to Florida or researched, but I feel like I want to do something. So I'm happy to do some, preliminary work before I send you some information.
Yeah, when was this?
Your email.
When did this happen?
2015.
God.
I believe July, actually. It's probably been 4 years this month. Yeah, it was July of 15.
Have you noticed that when you get older, how time just goes by like way quicker and quicker? It sucks, right? I mean, you kind of wish that it would be the other way, But when you're a kid, every year seems to take forever. Like, my God, 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. But now they're just like, it seems like right when you're done with Christmas, you put the lights in the box, you're stringing them back up again. It's crazy. But yeah,
I'm finding when I take notes on things at work or wherever, I have to put the year now too, because literally I'll look back and go, wait a minute, I put July 10th. What year was that? Because they're running so quickly.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't remember. Was it 2 years ago? Was it 3?
It's insane. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I appreciate this, conversation, and I'll send you the information and whatever I can find out. I just didn't feel comfortable just calling the police down there, although I'm happy to do that. I just didn't know how to approach that because I haven't done that before. And they might say, well, geez, you haven't talked to this lady forever. But I'm so upset about it. And I just feel like I want justice for her in memory of,
Yeah. Well, maybe you can send me an email with even just the stories that were out there. What was her name? People are asking what her name was, I guess.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, you can Google it. It's Helen Townsend, Towsend, like the Who. You know, Pete Townsend. It's Helen Townsend.
Helen, like Hellen.
Helen. Yeah, Helen Townsend. And if you do, if you search, it's www.local10.com. And if you do something like death of elderly woman, 90, Helen, it should pop up. It was in Hollywood, Florida, in July of 2000.
July 7th. I see it. Well, here.
Yeah.
I think I can. I don't know if there's a video on there, but it says the death of a 90-year-old woman who was found inside a Hollywood apartment Monday morning has been ruled a homicide. Homicide officers were called to the Town Mar Apartments at 2842 Fillmore Street at 8:30 a.m. Officer, let's see. Determined Tuesday that Townsend's death was a homicide. They hit her really hard and poured bleach over her. Relative, that's nuts. I mean,
I know. It's just, oh God, it's awful.
Yeah, so that's basically all that's out there, right? Like just that little bit of information, right? So maybe you could get more. Oh, it is? Okay.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah, but maybe you get more on what happened. Like, we can... Because I think that's the address, so we can put that in. But, I mean, see if you can get more information on what they think happened. Did somebody break into her home? Was there... Things like that,
Okay. I'll call down to the police department and see what I can find out.
It's so crazy, somebody just type in, to be murdered at 90. Yeah, it's like you live your whole life, and you're just kind of at the end stages, and you're still alive, and you're just kind of, I don't know if you're, what you call it, enjoying your last years, and then somebody just kills you. Like, those guys are monsters,
It's terrible. And you can see her picture, too. If you type her name, the lady with the blonde hair, and there's one where she's sitting in a little pink, like, moo-moo with holding a drink.
Oh, there she is.
She looks great.
Yeah, wow, she's 90? Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Like she's got her hair. Yeah, and there's got one with a visitor. She looks younger than that, 90.
Yeah. I guess she's still...
Her. Yeah, that's her. There's a shot with her with a green shirt on. She has got like a green shirt. Says visitor something, and then there's another one with sort of it's not a very, they have the wrong aspect ratio on the image, but I could probably fix that. Let's see. Anyways, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, it's so terrible when people attack the elderly. We had a couple cases here in Cleveland. There was and they've both been caught, but there was a lady south of Akron. She was 100, and somebody in the street killed her last year. And then a 94-year-old lady in Slavic Village near where you showed the case last week. It's like, how can you do that to an elderly person? Anybody, but especially. Yeah, you've got the picture. That's her.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is they had it wrong. That's probably closer to what she looked like. They have it really spread out. They didn't. I can't stand when people do that with images. I think it's probably more like that. They had it really stretched out. Like, see what you're seeing on the screen now? The image that they had was this one. Look at that. It's like, you can't even tell what the person looks like. It's so off, aspect ratio wise. It's way too wide. So the real look is more like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that looks a lot better.
Yeah.
And I agree with the one lady is saying too on the chat that she looked like she was fully engaged. I mean, she didn't look much different from when I last saw her, and if that fairly recent picture before she died, I mean, she still looked pretty healthy. And it sounded like it from the news articles that she was still real active, and maybe it wasn't so safe to be doing that by herself, and maybe she should have had like a management company, but she would actually meet with all the people that lived in the apartments and collect rent.
So they don't have any surveillance or anything like that? Seems like there'd be something.
Not for, yeah, I'll check into it. I'll call down there.
All right. Well, yeah, put something together and we can, you can come back on. We can go over it and put out a video on it. You know?
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah, why not? Have her name on it, and it goes out, and it's out there. You know,
okay.
At least a few thousand people would probably see it, so that's good.
Well, thanks. Well, I'll free up the line for someone else, but I appreciate your time, and hi to everybody, all the freaks, us late nighters.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. It was F sharp. I've seen your name in there a million times. But now I can't remember if it was Kim or Amy now. I've looked.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim. Yeah, I knew it was 3 letters, but then I kept seeing an Amy. I thought I saw an Amy typing in. Huh.
Yeah, Kim Flat. So, hi, Audra. She keeps saying hi.
Oh, all right, cool. All right. Well, thank you for calling in. I'm sorry that happened.
Ray.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. See you.
Bye.
What's up? It's KP. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I wanted to call because I think this is a great topic tonight. Hello to everyone in the chat there. But if you look this up, I think it should probably pop right up. But my nephew vanished. His name is, or was, I think he's gone now, but Marble, middle name Ace, last name Arvidsson. It's just like Davidson, except an AR instead of DA. And he was 17. It was August 27th, right before this huge storm kicked the crap out of this side of the country. Power was out. We had to have the Army come in and help put buildings.
Didn't you send me an email on
together.
that? Didn't you send me an email or something on that or something?
Yes, I did. Yep. I've contacted a bunch of channels about it. But, there's just so little evidence that people are like, there's nothing we can do. But he was last seen with a person, and that's why I don't believe. Some people are like, oh, he must have just succumbed to the storm. But everyone that actually died from the storm, the bodies were found relatively quickly, and he was seen with a person, and that person never came forward, and they were never reported missing. So it's like, who is the person? Why wouldn't they come forward?
Yeah.
But he vanished. He was 17. He left a message for his girlfriend right before he left and said, he was like, Mahal, pick up. He had excited news. He was really amped up about it. And then he left. He left a note for his housemates because he didn't live. My sister had to kick him out because he was fighting with his brother. But he wasn't a bad kid or violent. He just.
Wait, what was because when reading the Charlie Project, it says he apparently left the house sometime after leaving a note saying he was going out for a walk. So what's the part that you're talking about where he was really excited compared to that?
Yeah, no, the note he left said, I've met some gremlins gone to frolic. And he said he'd be right back in like 20 minutes. And the person he was living with saw him leave with someone, but he called his girlfriend and left her a message, and it said, he was like, Mahala, pick up. He was all excited, and then... Like in a good way?
Have you heard this message before?
Yeah,
have you heard it?
Yes, I have heard it. I heard it several times.
Well, how do we get it?
Very excited.
How can we get the copy of the message?
Well, my older sister is a retired master sergeant in the Army, so she kind of controlled all of what was happening. And I ended up getting into a fight, not a fist fight, but an arguing fight with the police because they wouldn't let me talk to a guy that I thought could have been a possible suspect in it. And so I ended up in a screaming match. It was bad. The cops in that town don't like me still to this day. So they pretty much won't even deal with me now. But I just went off. I had a breakdown. I hadn't slept in 2 days. I was worried, and I just went off on this cop and told him he wasn't doing his job and they were useless and let me talk to him. What are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're sitting here talking, blah, blah, blah. Do something kind of thing. So I'm not allowed to really have anything to do with it really. But my sister hired a private investigator, and my sister's not anyone to mess with, and she's got money. She hired one of the best she could find, and they found nothing. He didn't take his shoes with him. He didn't take any money. He didn't have a cell phone, but nothing.
Well, then I guess you got to go back. Then you have to go back to basically all you have then is the note and then that call. So try to explain the call better. I mean, there might be some surveillance out there somewhere that saw him, but describe exactly what you heard in that call as best you can, word for word, where he was all excited.
Mahala, it's me. Pick up. Mahala. All right. Mahala, I'll call you back. Bye. That's what he said. It sounded like he was about to be handed like a puppy or something.
Yeah, but could it be that he was scared too, right? Like something crazy was happening. I mean, how do you know that he was happy? Yeah. How do you know that?
I know him. I've known him his whole life. It was definitely an excited, happy, he was going to go and had something amazing happening.
So why would he call this? What kinds of things would he not call? So he called his sister, but what would he not call his sister about if he was excited about? So I'm saying that because...
No, not his sister. It was his girlfriend.
His girlfriend. So what are the things, if he's calling her excited, saying, oh, wow, hey, what do you think that could be? That why he would call her about something that he was excited about? What's something in common that she would have been, really happy that he got or found, something like that?
I don't want anyone to judge him or anything. He was at 17, but they had been really looking and trying to try mushrooms for their first time, the drug mushrooms or whatever you call it. It's not really a drug, whatever. Don't judge him, please, people. But he had been trying to find that, and he had even asked me about it. And I said, I am not getting that for you. I said, if you do that, please do it safe. If you need to call me, you can, but I'm not getting you anything like that. That's crazy. And so that's what his girlfriend's first thought was, oh, he might have found someone to get us mushrooms, because her birthday was coming up. It was the next week, and they had wanted to try it for the first time. She was turning 18, he was 17. So that also made the police look at him badly. But I mean, 17 living in Vermont,
Yeah. Well, it makes you wonder, maybe somebody bought some mushrooms from, maybe. That's the guy he was seen. I mean, where does it say he was seen with somebody? I don't see that here.
They didn't. The police didn't give out a lot of information. I don't know why they do that. It's so frustrating. They keep it so private. But I spoke to his housemate, and he saw the person that Marble left with. The guy walked in the house, and he didn't think to look up and focus on him, but he just saw out of the corner of his eye that he was with somebody. And as he was walking out, Marble was like, "Oh, I left you a note. Bye," because he was coming in as they were leaving. And he just said that it was a person, it was a white kid, it looked about Marble's age, but he didn't take the time to focus on it at all. And he left in a car. And a couple other people said they saw him at the co-op a little bit after that, but that can't be confirmed. They don't know.
Did he have any money out of his bank account
or
anything like that? Nothing?
Nope. No. He didn't even take his shoes. He had slippers on. He thought he was coming right back.
Yeah, so he must have had some money on him now. Why would he just go with somebody? You know what I mean?
That's what we don't know. But he sounded so excited. I was like, oh God, what if somebody was planning on kidnapping him? What if they were like, hey, yeah, man, I got you. I'll give you some free mushrooms. I got you. Just come with me for the car for a minute,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Huh. But why would they want to kill him now? I mean, see, unless he has something to give them. See, that's what I don't really get. Because you're saying,
sounds horrible, and I think that he was taken because of what he looked like. He had long hair. He was bisexual. I really think that he was taken for a dark purpose. And what makes me think that even more is that a few months after that, a few hours away up in New York, a same kid, same age, blonde hair, blue eyes, 17, vanished again. Same situation, just gone. But it's just a feeling in my stomach that happened.
Oh, man.
About it, and
they've already got somebody doing psychic tarot card readings on it. Oh, my God. I just saw this link. Psychic tarot insights. Oh, boy.
My sister's all about that.
Have this been covered at all? I see one, there's a YouTube video. It looks like, is that by it says, Find Marble. And it says, I don't know if that's his sister, maybe? I don't know. Dark hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 5 sisters. They're all, his mother's name is Sigrid, and she's interesting. He has a little brother named Soren Free. That you can tell how my sister is by the name she gave her kids. But I don't know.
But he had a girlfriend,
I've never seen that
is what you're
one.
saying. So he had a girlfriend?
He had a girlfriend, yep.
He didn't have any guy that he was seeing too then, maybe, or anything?
No, he had dated a boy that he told everyone about for a couple months, but then they just decided to be friends.
But was that, who decided that?
I think it was Marble. They had been best friends for a while, and then they were boyfriends, and then they were like, we're just going to be friends again.
Yeah, but see, if Marble's the one that broke it off, then he's not the one scorned. It's the other guy. Have they ever looked into that person?
They did, and they cleared him. He was a wreck over it. He was there with all the search parties. Like, he still keeps in contact with my sister, his mother.
Wow.
And my older sister, the one that's the master sergeant, she grilled these people. Like, she told me herself she had all these kids in a room, and she, one-on-one or with their parents in there, talked to all of them. And she's like, I don't think they had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, you should maybe you could do the same thing. Put together, like, all the stuff that's known. And, I mean, that's so bizarre. It's just one of those. It's just one of those other. It's just like some of those other stories. They walk out the door, everything seems somewhat normal. There's a few little hints like, "Oh, hey, wow, something really great," and then they're just gone forever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So but the thing is whoever he was with has something to do with them disappearing. So
exactly. But the police in the press conference, the police were like, "We're not saying it's foul play." And I was sitting in the little audience when they were doing it, because I was like, they wouldn't let me up there because of me yelling at the cop. But like, I just so badly wanted to be like, "How can you say it's not foul play? There is another person involved. They're not missing, so they didn't get washed away, and they didn't come forward. So someone knows something, and they're not talking." But the police are refusing to say it was foul play. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, jeez. I mean, because that's the thing is it's almost always that, like, the last person that's with somebody, except they'll always say, "Oh, well, gosh, I dropped them off on this corner," and they'll always say something, but they might not have ever even been able to track down who that was.
They never have. No one knows who he was with. No one. None of his friends knew who this person.
17.
Nobody. It was like a new person that he just happened to meet, and he was really trusting. Like, he would never think somebody was going to hurt him.
Yeah.
Very strange.
There's a lot of articles on him.
Yeah, we tried really hard to get his name out there, but we couldn't get any actual, like, coverage with MSM.
Well, you should try it again.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying that is because, I don't know if he's transgender or what you'd classify him as, but I think now there'd be way less hesitation by somebody like HLN or somebody like that to cover it, and maybe that angle's part of the case, like you were just saying a minute ago.
Yeah, he would have been a really pretty girl if he dressed up like one.
Yeah, well. And I'm just saying, I
don't want to tie up the line either. Do you have other callers?
I do have another call. It's been on hold, so. But yeah, why don't you put stuff together and you can? Well, you don't have to. Sorry, you called in. Yeah, I mean, I wanted you to call in. That's the thing. Yeah, why don't you put together? I don't know if you can, but put together a few stories in order and with your own comments, and then maybe I can just put out a video, or even have you come back on again. We can go over it, and then just stop.
All right, yeah.
We can do it on the side. Like, I don't have to be live. Like, you can call in, and I can just record what we're doing, and then edit it maybe, or just go with what we record, something like that.
All right, I'll call my sister too, my oldest one. I'll see if I can get the recording of him calling his girlfriend, because I know she has it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'd be really important, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She kept it because it's the last time he spoke to, on a recording. So.
Yeah.
But,
well, I look forward to checking out. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for calling in.
All right, bye.
Bye. 707.
Well, hello, Gray. I have my my YouTube muted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is Amplifier, and I'm calling from 707, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Northern California. I just want to talk about briefly something that happened to me. about 10 years ago, and I don't want to go into great detail because it was very scary, and I have some degree of PTSD and physical problems as a result of what happened. So it's hard for me to talk about, but the old saying, if I could help one person, kind of like why I'm trying to get this out there. But something happened 10 years ago. I had arranged a daytime meetup with an ex-boyfriend for him to pick up some things over at my home. And he had become very much different from the person I met initially, and I think some kind of weird drugs were involved, and that doesn't go over with me.
Wait, can you hold on? Can you hold on for 1 second? Somebody donated and spoke over you. I want you to be able to get out what you were saying. So say that again. That
sure.
first, right, yeah, go ahead. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so anyway, it took several months for him to even acknowledge that I did not love him anymore. I did not want to be with him. He seemed obsessed because he was going through my photo albums at the time that he lived with me, asking about family, and I said, dude, look, it's over. I don't want to be with you. That's my final decision. You need to look for another place to live. To the point where his behavior was becoming even more edgy, sketchy. I would say goodnight and go to bed at night, and made sure that he would hear it, and he would continue to talk to me as if I was involved in a conversation with him. And that was, okay, one thing that was completely different from when I first met him. I'm trying to make this brief, but finally a day came where we set a scheduled time to meet up at my home for him to pick up some of his things, and I had them already boxed. And so one condition, I said, would you be okay with me calling for a civil standby in advance while you're here? He said, sure, no problem. So he knocked on my door 11 o'clock one morning, and I said, okay, great, you're here. Just a moment, I'm going to call for the civil standby. And I attempted to close the door. He wasn't having any of it. I think he wanted me to say, hey, I've thought it over, and I decided to welcome you back in my life. Not going to happen. But he charged the door, charged me. I had 3 different cell phones at the time for whatever reason. He broke all 3. The police report later, much later, said that I got a few seconds of a call through and there was screaming and yelling. But anyway, he got several felony charges later on. I couldn't get out of my home. I have 3 doors into my house. I couldn't get out of any of them. I was constantly running. I was inside my house for about an hour and a half. And my mistake was going for the back door because there's hardwood by the back door, and that was the worst part probably. My nose was already bleeding because he had broken it, smashed my nose, so it was bleeding profusely. Then he knocked me over onto the hardwood and hit the back of my head repeatedly until I passed out. And then apparently I was unconscious because I wound up in another room, and he was just sitting on the edge of a bed like he was thinking, well, what should I do now? And I came to. Apparently I came out of my being unconscious, and I came to. And I decided, okay, I've just got to get into his brain and make him think there's a chance.
Yep.
So I tried to make it seem like I really always loved him, wanted to get back together with him, etc. And he calmed down.
That's smart.
And when I popped up and began speaking to him, it was scary because his face, all the blood from his face just drained, and his face went white. But anyway, long story short, a guy about a block away had heard my screams, a total stranger, and there happened to be a passing police car at the time, and he flagged the guy down and told him where he heard the screams from, and he pointed exactly at my house. And I only live 5 blocks away from the main police station in my city. And bam, 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 I heard, "Police, open up." And he let me go, and he just stood up and froze. He didn't know whether to run for the front door or go hide or what. He froze. So I said, "I'm just going to go answer the door," so he wouldn't grab me again, you know. "I'm going to answer the door and tell him that I just have a nosebleed." And he seemed to buy it for whatever reason. He just seemed to believe it. I said, "It's on my medical records. I've had him since I was a kid." So I went to the door, and 2 cops were there with their guns drawn right at me. I was all bloody, and I had my hands in the air, and I walked through them, and I said, "One guy," and at one point he said he had a gun as well. "One guy says he has a gun." So he entered the house, and apparently he just gave himself up. But yeah, I just wanted to say, not only to the women that might be listening to this, but men as well. If there's something sketchy about someone you're trying to break up with, please don't ignore the signs. I caught the signs, I feel, pretty early, but he was living with me, so I really feared getting a restraining order, because then I would have had to wait 30 days, and his behavior was such that I was afraid, didn't want to do that. So I would suggest, in looking back, you know, it's 10 years later, and looking back at it, not only a civil standby, but maybe get one in advance. And if you could have a friend or two in your home, if the individual has to come to your home, have a friend or two with you, or just say you can't do it, but you know someone who can pick up your things. Just try to maintain that distance, and don't. I wasn't gullible, like he didn't try to approach me with some fake need up. "Oh, I'm moving away. Come see me just one last time." It wasn't like that. So just really be careful. Try to look for the signs. If somebody seems like they really don't want to break up with you, or they aren't taking no for an answer, or there's, especially if they're threatening to do something to you or your family if you do break up with them, just keep rattling cages until you get the police to intervene. The police never took me seriously during the months that I was trying to get him to leave my home, because he had never physically been violent toward me. It's only that I truly believe he used to be a shy, quiet guy, but then he would talk non-stop and just spend money on eBay and be awake all the time. So yeah, there was a sign right there that something's changed.
Well, I think one of the other things that's important is that if you're in a situation like that, I think your technique of trying to get them to think that you care is really important. See, a lot of people, "No way I would do that. I would fight back," you know.
Right,
well,
right.
You'll probably end up dead, okay? That's what the truth
Exactly.
is. So you got to pretend in a situation like that. Like if there's a rapist out there, he's going to rape you, okay, because he's a monster. So why I mean, if it's already got to that point, you might as well pretend, try to get him to think, "Hey, you know, maybe I could see you again," type of thing. You know, just some crazy crap, so that he might actually let you go. Because if that doesn't occur, I think your chances of living. Like, I think when you woke up right there, you had a good chance that he was going to kill you right there. Except you tricked him.
Oh yeah, because he was looking like he was trying to figure out what to do with my body. You really look like, "Oh my God, what should I do now?" Like he was sitting there thinking on the edge of the bed. And when I popped up, it's like he literally froze and went white. Like, what the hell just happened here? And he was no longer, let's say, aggressive. But from the time that he rushed the door, the entire time until I passed out, I thought, okay, I'm going to fight, because he was just so frenzied and probably on drugs that I thought, my only chance is to hope somebody hears me or to get out of the door. So that was really my only choice, Gray. But I totally agree with you. When you're in a position like that, you've got to weigh your odds and figure out a strategy that's most likely going to work. And if that means trying to humanize yourself or talking to them about their life, whatever you need to do.
Oh, geez.
And it's
wow.
amazing how quickly your brain functions in a situation like that.
Yeah. Because there was a loud beep that came from the phone.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, but initially he was just punching and beating so in such a rage. I had no choice but to try to break free and go for a door. It wasn't happening. I couldn't get a phone call through. So when I had the chance, after he had calmed down, like an hour and a half later after it began, and I came to, I thought, okay, this is the chance I have. You know, my only choice is I always really loved you, and here's the only petty reason why I wanted to break up.
Oh, so if I fix that, so if I just don't do those things, we can all be together, and this is gonna be great, right?
Right. So you just kind of think. I think what I'm trying to say is you have to sum up what you knew of them prior, and I knew he wasn't probably right in the head. Could have been on drugs. So whatever you think will work, go with it.
And here's another thing too is you can't, and yeah, you got to make it credible, like you were saying, and you have to play it all the way through till there's a moment where you're no doubt going to be safe. Like if you try to escape during a lull where he turns his back or something and he catches you, that little trick won't work again, and now you're in real danger. Then you do have to just fight for your life and hope you get out.
Absolutely, you can call that over. Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta, if you keep the ruse going until, like you did, it's perfect. The cops open the door, and now you're 100% safe as soon as you go out that door, right? And so that's what you did. But what if you had minutes earlier said you kind of got him going, and then you stood up and you bolted for the door. Now he doesn't believe you ever again on the that I care so much angle, right? So, yeah.
Right. Absolutely right, Gray. And I just want to say that not only for the women out there, but for men as well, because it does happen with men, and of course it's underreported, as a lot of crimes against men are. But it was terrifying. I didn't think I would survive it. There was a lot of blood loss. And even when I was trying to talk him down at the end, when I came to, it was like in my head, just constantly repeating, do what you got to do. Stay alive, stay conscious. But, yeah, I was almost...
Well, you did it. You should be proud of yourself for getting out of that. You know, it was amazing.
Absolutely. I just thought, okay. But, yeah, I hope that people take breakup violence in relationships and things that can often go with them. Because, you know, the murder rate against people that know each other is the highest. Those are the most murders that are committed, is between people that know each other. And often it's about money, passion, or something along those lines.
Right.
But, yeah, so I think it's really important for people to be educated about this thing called breakup violence.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I appreciate you calling in. You've got 4 other people on hold now after you called in. So you did it. You got people to call in. So let's say.
Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your work.
That was great. Great call. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was a great call. You know, I brought that same topic up before. You know, if you're a woman and you're not trained in, you know, some crazy self-defense and don't have a gun, then and you're in a situation like that, it seems like the safest, you know, to try to get out of it would be to just play along and make them seem like that you care. Hey, where did 503 go? You were next. 979.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello, Gray.
Hey.
I couldn't understand what they were saying. I just have a quick story, kind of about, you know, the same thing. When I was first going into college, I was very naive and believed everyone. You know, this has been a long time ago. I went out on a date with actually a cop, and he introduced me to a friend at the restaurant that happened to be there. So the police officer, or my date, took me back to my apartment and left. And about an hour later, I got a knock on the door, and it was the guy that he introduced me to at the restaurant, his friend. And the guy made his way into my apartment and raped me. And so it was just, first of all, I mean, devastating. It changed my life.
Jesus.
But
so the officer came back. He came back.
No, the officer. We were on a date.
Yeah.
And so he left. He went to his house. The guy that he introduced me to at the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
He said, "Hey, this is my friend Randy."
Oh, crazy.
And yeah, so
I missed
that
part. Yeah.
Apparently followed me. Yeah, so when I answered the door, I thought, "Oh, this is his friend," but during it, I mean, it was violent. I kept telling him that I thought he was really nice, and things that weren't true, because I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's going to kill me. And the crazy thing is that I never told my parents. My best friend and my roommate knew, and now other people know. That's been many, many years ago, but I thought that my parents wouldn't be able to handle it. And now as a parent, oh my gosh, I would want my child to tell me, so that we could, work through it. So, so you just don't know what you're going to do in those situations. So,
yeah, but
anyway,
I think you did what we were just talking about. You got out of it by making. So what did your cop friend say after that?
Oh, well, she took me to the hospital, and I was examined. The police came and took a report, and the guy started calling me because I knew that he was a friend of this guy that I went on a date with, so they knew who this guy was. And he started threatening me, saying, I'm going to kill your family, I'm going to do all this other stuff. And so I dropped the charge and moved away I quit that university and went to another one. And so the police station people called me, and they were like, you can't drop charges. He's done this before. We have to have someone who will press charges. And, I was 18 at the time and scared, and I just said, I can't do this. And I moved away. So the older person, my older self wishes I could have done something, but I didn't. I was scared. I was embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want my parents to know. Just crazy things that, go through your head.
So he never got any sort of, do you know who it was? Like, have you ever followed up on him and see if he's...
I have.
Because people don't just do that once, There's no way in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I looked him up, and he did end up going to prison for assault and battery for something. So...
But in your case, he just showed up, and did he just come in and just start, like, rape you, or, right off the bat, or assault you like that? I
mean, he came in, and, like, I assumed he was nice because my date had introduced me to him. He said, oh, there's my friend, and he came over to the table. So he comes in, and I'm so naive, I just, let him in, like, oh, what do you need? And then the assault started, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And
yeah, see, somebody like that is definitely, they're not just doing that once. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I guarantee it, that guy, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, he didn't even know you, really, other than...
No.
So, I mean, that means he's, he might be like a serial rapist type. There's no way in hell you just sort of just do that. Yeah.
He was a predator for sure, and... I wish, looking back, that I would have told more people. I would have kept the charges, but I didn't. I didn't know what to do. So, but I survived it because he was, violently hitting me and, things like that. And I was like going, we can talk. We can, what do you need? And things like that. And then he left, and like we were friends or something.
Did he keep punching you, or like he literally punched you and stuff like that?
Yeah, he hit me in my face and in my stomach, and I guess to subdue me, and then rape me. And
but
when he left,
he thought you guys were buddies when he left, huh? Jesus.
He what?
He thought he was going to be able to come back over again, and you guys could sit down and have a pizza and watch a movie, huh?
Yeah. It's like he changed, his personality changed after he was done, and he was like, okay, you know, whatever, and just left. And I'm shaking like, you know, freaked out, and it was insane. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. That's crazy.
Okay.
I mean, there's, it sucks that it's like, you know, there's so many of these incidents are happening, you know, been happening and have happened to women. But I think you did the right technique, you know, again, you got out of it.
I did.
You know.
I did. I got out of it. I survived. And matter of fact, I tell my nieces all the time, I don't care if you know the person, don't answer the door, you know, unless you're really good friends, you know, whatever.
Well, you know what's weird is, you know, a second. Sheila Wysocki, you know, her and when she started becoming a private investigator, she had a case where her friend actually was murdered while they were in college together. And then years later, she decided to become a private investigator to help solve that case. I guess there was some dream she had, whatever. You know, it was kind of weird, but kind of interesting how she came about it. But she became a private investigator, and she investigated it for years and years, and she kind of always thought it was this one person. But she's the only reason the case got solved. It's crazy. They actually... you know, it wasn't, it didn't turn out to be the person she was thinking, but the police then started picking it up again, and it turns out it was just some random killer. Like, this is the way it happened was, like, she was in her apartment. She had just got dropped off from a date, and that guy went home. Then this guy shows up to her apartment, knocks on the door, and she just lets him in to use her phone or something. Or not even use his phone, just said there was something, I don't know what it was. And she even got on the phone and called her boyfriend and said, hey, this guy's in here, it's weird. And then she got murdered. I mean, the guy killed her, stabbed her a bunch of times. And then later the boyfriend goes over. It's crazy, though.
That sounds like my story, but it was like,
that's what I'm saying. It's almost identical. You know, it's like the way it just except in her case, I don't even think she knew who the person was at all. Like, at least you kind of recognize him from earlier in the evening, but it's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It made actually your story is what made me think. It made me think of it. Your story. It sounded kind of similar. Just somebody knocking on the door, and then just minutes later, just you know.
Right. It was just minutes later, and it was the person that I had seen him talk to. So I said, "Oh, okay, it's that guy." You know, I thought maybe he needed to tell me. I don't know. Who knows what I thought, but didn't end well. But you know, I'm alive, so that's good.
Well, I'm glad.
Okay, I enjoy your channel, so thank you so much.
And what was your name again? I didn't catch that. Or do you not want to say it? Or?
Oh, my name?
Yeah.
I'm Vicky.
Vicky. Well, thank you for calling in.
Vicky. All right.
All right. Well, thanks. Bye. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, freaks. It's Mama Bear.
Yeah, that's right. Mama Bear again.
How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. What's going on?
Good. Hey, I have a kind of crazy story. Before I got married, I was engaged beforehand. I was with this guy for five years, and I had gotten into a really bad accident, almost killed. I was in a motorcycle accident, was thrown 30 feet, but so I had about 6 months of recoup time, and I found out that during that time, my fiance was cheating with somebody from work. Go figure. And I approached him on it and told him he needs to pack his stuff and get out. And he pulled a gun out and aimed it at my dog, because he knew how to get to me was through my dog. And then when he went from the dog to me and said, well, which one can I shoot? I said, oh, well, the dog needs to go outside. I kept it very calm. I stayed calm. I don't know how I did it. I stayed calm, and I said, okay, you know what? Just promise me you won't do it again, and played the idiot. Not idiot, but I just kind of played.
Right, like it didn't bother you that much. Like, yeah, hey, yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, that's hilarious.
Exactly.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I said, well, as long as you don't do it again, I'm fine with it. I said, I don't think we need that thing anymore. And I just, and then like within 5 minutes, he put it away. And I said, oh, the dog's got to go to the bathroom. And I put the dog on the leash, went out the door, went to my neighbor's house, locked myself in, called the cops, had him arrested.
And then how long was what? So, but that's the part that's kind of scary, right? Because how long does that last? You've already got this psycho.
It didn't. They had no proof. They couldn't. Geez. There was. I wasn't at those times. They didn't do that. So what I did is, he showed back up. I went back home. He was gone. I went back home and locked all the doors. And back then, I lived in Chicago, so they had those top locks. Well, you can't get in. It was a chain. And he tried to come in at like 2 a.m. And I locked the door again, called the cops. By the time the cops got there, he was gone. And so the very next morning, loaded my car and drove to Denver. No kidding. I just left. I'm like, no way, I'm not dealing with a stalker. And the only reason I went back to my apartment that night is my dog is trained. I had my dog trained as a protection dog. And so the dog didn't do anything when he saw the gun because I didn't give him the code word. But if I would have given the code word, I didn't want to create an issue. I just kind of talked my way out of it.
Yeah. So you just got out of there like ASAP, man.
Oh yeah, I was like, I can't.
You didn't have a job and all kinds of stuff. I mean, how did you just kind of?
It came out of the blue. We had been together 5 years. Never had he done anything like that. Oh, never.
Wow. Huh.
Nope. I mean, it was like he snapped. I mean, right. I hate that word.
Yeah. How old was he? How old was he?
We were 22, 23. 20, yeah, right around there. But he was one of those personalities. He was just laid back. He never, he never showed that side to me. I mean, once in a while, if I saw him get angry, I was like, whoa, but he wasn't angry at me. It was at something else. But I didn't even see it. It blindsided.
Why do you think he aimed his gun at your dog, though? Like, what
because
was he
knew how much, because I love dogs.
Well, what was going on just prior to that, though? Like, how did that come about? Like, were you guys fighting about something, or?
Well, yeah, yes, oh yeah, about him being with the other girl at work.
Oh, okay,
I found texts and stuff, yeah, and I basically went to him and said, "Hey, you want her? Go get her." But I asked him to leave. Is what happened. I said, "You need to leave. We are done." So, because I don't play that game.
But then as soon as he pulled the gun out and aimed at your dog, it's like, oh yeah, well, you know what? I tell you what, if you just don't do it again, we'll be fine.
Well, yeah, and I scrambled. I mean, I was in my head. I was freaking out, but I kind of thought me or the dog, probably the dog, but I hate to say that, but he knew how to get to me. He wanted to know because one of his friends told me once I started asking questions. One of his friends told me, and I wouldn't tell him who the friend was, and he was livid. So, yep. But anyway,
Wow.
You know what? I just knew that. Well, yeah, of course.
But you were pretty young. You said you were 22 or 23, something like that.
When you're that young, you just don't think of things like that, and even more.
Well, I think men's hormones are. I mean, even at that age, they're a little more volatile, right? Like it's just sort of it's just crazy. Like you said, he snapped. I don't know what. He was cheating. He's probably a player, and then you caught him. So then he was like pissed off, like, well, I don't want to, I don't want to lose you too. So how about this? I'll threaten your dog, and then you'll stay with me. I mean, what great logic that is.
Yeah, but it's I'm glad. I mean, I called once I got to a safe place, which he didn't know where I was. Yeah. Right, and something like this sticks with you for a long time. Like my husband now, we've been married almost 23 years, and just last year I let him buy a gun for the house.
Well, hold on. What does that mean, sassy investigator? What does that even mean? Yeah, we already talked about that one. What a couple days ago, the beheading in Canada has nothing to do with what we're talking about, though. Let's see. Yeah, well, I'm glad you made it out of that.
Yep. Yeah, my friends were like, "What?" And I didn't tell any of our mutual friends what happened. I just told them that I needed a change because I didn't want to instigate him. Come to find out, he found out I was in Denver and came to Denver, but he couldn't find me. So it was crazy. Yeah. Let me tell you, it was nuts. But
all right. Well, I'm glad you're okay. And you did the right move and everything. All right.
And I tried. All right. Well, I'll let somebody else chat.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Bye. All right. Bye.
319. You're on the air.
Hi, Grace.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Who's this?
This is Karen K.
Karen K. All right.
Okay. I have a story. It doesn't. I was a little girl, but it affected my family a lot, so I was going to share that. In 1979, my mom's best friend was murdered on March 30th. Her name was Deborah Lane. She was brutally murdered. She was almost decapitated, and she was hung in her basement. And then almost a month later, on April 20th in 1979, my kindergarten teacher was also murdered. She was ran over by a car. And the reason, well, the two are connected, it's the same guy, but the reason why they caught him was because he had left a button in my kindergarten teacher's home, and it connected him to both of the murders. But I just wanted to say, like when, I know you hate the word closure and everybody else, but I was little back then. I mean, I was pretty young, but it affected my mom so much because Deborah was her best friend. And so, it was just so sad. I mean, I'm glad now there's so much more grief counseling and, all that stuff that people can reach out because, it affected my mom.
Well, yeah, did they solve it, the case?
Yes.
So what happened?
Yes, they did. He was, his name's Michael Moses. He died in prison now. But he had such a hatred for women. And he had been, there was, people that would get together that would gamble and stuff. And so he lost his, the card game to a woman who was Patricia Niss. That was my kindergarten teacher. Why he killed Deborah Lane, we still are unsure, except for that he just has a hatred of women. But it was really hard for my mom because it was the first court case in Iowa that was actually going to be televised. So it was a big deal. But he had a bench trial. And so my mom couldn't even how some friends or friends of families, they kind of want to do the whole trial thing. So I think that affected my mother too. But she still talks about it. She still talks about Deborah, and she never really ever had a best friend after that. It was just really sad.
Yeah.
But, I just thought I'd call in, and I appreciate everything you do. I watch quite a bit.
Well, good. I'm sorry you had that happen to you, although you're younger, but geez.
Right. I was younger, but yeah, I was 9 when this happened, so my kindergarten teacher, obviously I'd already, passed kindergarten and stuff, but I do remember her as a really nice lady, and Deborah was beautiful. She was just such a good soul, and for her to be taken like that is just, it's awful.
Yeah, jeez. Wow. Well, I appreciate you calling in and sharing your story. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but...
Right. Well, yeah, and I guess that's going back way back then when I grew up. That's kind of how I got into the whole true crime thing and, all that stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay, well, thanks. I'll let you go so you can get to somebody else, but I just thought I'd share my story.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you calling in and, like I said, sharing your story. And so many people have called in tonight to share their story. Maybe I should do this more often. It's kind of interesting. Very interesting.
Well, yeah, I think so. And I do applaud you for everything you do. I know, like, with the Nanette story, that was really nice of all the stuff you've done for her family. And I know that she really appreciated it. You could just, tell when she talks to you. So that was a really nice case.
Yeah.
Not a nice case, but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you, Greg. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. 289, you're on the air. Were you laughing in the background there? I could hear something. Okay. Who is this?
It's Lorianne. I'm calling about a work story.
Oh, okay.
But first of all, I want to acknowledge all the callers. Honestly, they're very brave to call in. It's a hard thing to do, and for sharing your channel is letting them unload. And thank you, Greg, for letting them do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. So what's that?
So I have a work story that kind of bothered me for years. I'm going back about 10 years ago, but so I had this lady who was very, very afraid for her life. Honestly, so she was brought to an area around where I live here called Purple Woods by a husband. He was a biker, like a gang biker. He stripped her naked and hogtied her in the woods and would rape her and make her do things to him. And then he left her in the woods. He was smart enough, though, he drove to a certain point, and then I don't know what he did. He had something to do. He had a gun in his truck. He had knives in his truck. He had all the rope, the tape.
What state was this
everything
in?
The police. Pardon me?
What state is this?
So this was in Ontario, Canada.
Oh, it's in Canada. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
About 10 years.
That's weird. I typed in Purple Woods, and it went right into, north of Lake Ontario, and there's a conservation area, right? Like a little...
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was horrible. She survived. He went to jail. Is the end story. But so her story terrified me. And she was just the most gentle-spoken woman, and would come in and just be so gentle about it. But anyways, her fear was she was suing him civilly. Which is why I had the case. And it was so terrifying. He was about to get out of jail. And before he was about to get out of jail, he was mailing her letters threatening her to kill her. And he had almost already killed her. So we thought this was a possible real threat. It was crazy for me to hear this for her. It really affected me. I was so scared for her. And it's really hard when you can't do anything to help somebody. It's like your own hands are tied. So scary for this woman. But So she was naked, and she was left there for, I think, a day or two, and she ended up biting herself through duct tape, the hog tying duct tape. And being naked, her bottoms of her feet and wrists were permanently damaged because of the tape, and then running through hard hay damaged all the bottom of her feet, the nerves in her feet. She ran for miles to a house to call for help, to get her back to safety in a hospital or whatever. But anyways, that just really affected me. But your callers kind of inspired this call, because I kind of forgot about it over the years and pushed it to the back of my head. But that really affected me as a young woman, kind of like listening to this face-to-face woman who survived it and then was then terrified that this man was about to get out of jail. I think he got 7 years or something like this.
And so what happened after he got out of jail?
Gosh, I hope she was still alive, and he never got to her. Honestly, I should look up to.
I think we just got disconnected to OBS or the. Well, I think it's reconnected now. So hold on a second.
What?
I don't think so. I think it was good.
But anyways, so this guy did. I guess my point is, your callers kind of inspired my call because male violence. But yeah, this guy went to jail, got out, still threatened her. You know, even if they do get out, like, honestly, they're not rehabbed, like you were saying the other day on one of your other lives. These people don't come out and they're instantly fine. These women live in terror, and it's absolutely terrifying. Not only for that woman, poor her, but I mean, then I have to raise my kids knowing there are these barbarians out here. And they're out there.
There's no barbarians. There's no barbarians in Canada. What are you talking about? Yeah, not in Australia, not in Canada, nowhere. Those countries are great. There's only barbarians in the United States, right? Yeah.
My gosh. Yeah, no.
Wow.
Like, get your head out of the sand, people. Honestly, they're everywhere.
Yeah. And the thing is you know, it's just, they're knife attacks in the other countries if they don't have guns. And the thing is, in those countries too. Yeah, those. And then the thing is, in those countries, they have gun. The bad people are the ones with guns. You know, like a lot of times the really bad guys, they're the ones with guns.
See that coming.
And nobody else has any guns. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if somebody's going to say something like that, honestly, you have strangulations, you have rapists, you have people who will knock you in the head with a pipe. Like, come on, come on.
Hey, hold on, B Smith comments. So I got a comment. Yeah, she says, I have data, Grace, so you are ill-informed. So you're saying that there's no murders in Australia by anybody that's from Australia. Like, the people that live in Australia have never murdered anybody. They don't murder at all. Every year there's just an absolutely safe country, and the only murders in Australia are from outsiders. Is that what you're trying to sell here? Because that's not true.
I would have to call that a troll, honestly, because, like, that's just a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, it's garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, hey,
but anyways, I just wanted to. Wanted to say, this poor lady, survived something, and she was terrified. And not only while he was in jail, she knew someday he was coming back after her, and that's a crazy that's a waste of a life for her. She was terrified, and it really shook me to know that, like, it's and again, I think I saw this on your show the other day. There's no such word as closure. Or somebody said, I hate the word closure. I noticed that. I'm the same. Like, there's no closure for these people who are terrified. Their lives are affected by it. This is real.
Yeah, no closure.
Crazy.
All right. Well, hey, thank you.
Well, anyways, that was one story. I have many, but anyways, I'll call it another time.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Take care. Take care, Gray.
You too. Bye. All right. 801, you're on the air.
How you doing, Gray?
Hey, pretty good. Who's this?
This is Brian from Utah.
All right, cool. What's going on?
Well, I just want to know, what conspiracies do you let your mind kind of gravitate towards, or what do you explore any kind of conspiracies, or are you just strictly all facts?
No, I mean, sometimes conspiracies seem like a possibility once you've analyzed the facts. See, a lot of times people just jump right into a conspiracy. You know, like the idiots that believe that Sandy Hook is fake. You know, like those people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just morons, right? So the thing is they just immediately go, "Oh, look, it's fake! It's fake! There's a girl with the brown hair. It's got to be fake." All right, well, listen, it's not. It actually happened. So the thing is, you know, but there are cases, you know, like the Rachel Del Tondo case, where you watch it and you look into it, and it's like, wow, look at all the crazy possibilities, because she was an informant for the police, I guess, and for a newspaper about corruption in the town, and then she ends up being shot 10 times outside of her house. So, you know, you look at something like that, and maybe that's so maybe in cases like that, I go, oh, wow, that's a possibility. But I don't start there. It was through all the stuff we put together, and it's like, oh, wow, look at this. And it was all in the news and reported and everything. It's not like it's some, you know, trying to look into something and assuming something, you know. What about you? What do you come up with?
I just have fun with conspiracies. Not necessarily I believe in them, but I can you know, almost experiment in just thought experiments. Yeah. And I feel like some people aren't open to that kind of mindset, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I believe in whether the alien, you know, like the Roswell incident or something. I think that might be real, you know. But that's the sort of, yeah, it's one of those things where I believe, you know, it's like I want to believe in aliens, so I'm like open-minded to that kind of, like the Roswell incident, things like that, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm in the same boat. It's not necessarily that I believe things. It's just like you can go down the road of, you know, whether it's, you know, 9/11 or all these different things and moon landing. And it's just fun to get into. I just didn't know if you participated, like, not necessarily believing, but
yeah, the whole like the moon landing, the anti-moon landing stuff. Wow, I mean, think how crazy that is. I mean, you got these people that take these pictures and go, "Oh, look at this one still shot," and all this, and it's garbage. I mean, it really is. I mean, these guys have been there. Yeah, you know. I can't wait till they put the rover up there, and this is what's going to happen though. They'll probably put another rover up on the moon and have it drive around and send pictures back, and people will go, "Oh well, given the technology today, that was all just done in a movie theater, like a movie studio somewhere, and we're just watching this, and it's not real." That's guaranteed. That's going to happen.
Okay, so. Yeah, definitely. And this is my thing, and you know, I'm no flat earther or anything, but I think it's super. I think it's super interesting. I think we shouldn't judge people. Let's just put it.
Really, God, I do.
Like
Jesus.
we should let people believe regardless and without judgment. And I feel like that's the problem.
Yeah, well, I know that's what people think, but I actually think we should. You know, because the thing is it's like when you because when you believe in some really crazy crap, like I mean, the thing is, maybe my alien thing is you know, with Roswell's crazy to some people, and they'll go, "Oh wow." You know, maybe. I don't know. But when people sit there and think the earth is flat, you should be shunned and avoided. Like, literally, like, wow, that means your brain doesn't work correctly. You know?
I understand that, but don't you like to hear other perspectives? And, like, isn't it interesting that someone can truly believe in their reality?
But see, but see, that's what's funny. That's what's funny is, like, right there you're saying, isn't it interesting that they can believe that? See, then we're just at the point where they're almost like a lab rat, where we're just going, wow, Jesus, how could somebody possibly believe in it? Not that it's interesting, okay? It's like these flat earth people. They are insane, okay? So when they're sitting out there doing all these little, it's unwrapped and it does this and that, it's nuts, okay? So even though it's, you know, you think it's interesting and you listen to them and you go, wow, yeah, wow, huh. I don't understand the point of it. It's a complete waste of time, right? Like,
but in your mind, it's a complete waste of time, but they've done all the science, and yet, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes things sound the most wackiest stuff ends up being the truest. Not to say that that's true, but to say that we shouldn't judge people. But
I mean, like in the Dark Ages, they thought the Earth revolved around other things, you know, things like that. Yeah, oh, wow, we actually revolve around the sun. Yeah, I mean, people did come up with stuff. Like, there was stuff that was deemed crazy that turns out, wow, the crazy was true. Like, we've even seen that on the show here before. With, the girl that was pregnant, she, what happened to her was the craziest thing I've ever heard. I mean, it was like, my God, they got her, ripped the baby out, and, I mean, it was some really nutty stuff. And the thing is but I mean, but the thing is aren't there some things now that are just, they're done being hashed out? Like, the Earth is a sphere, okay? Do you agree with that?
I mean...
Oh, wait. That should be a quick yes to that.
In my education, yes.
No, but you don't need upbringing and education.
Proof of it.
Oh, come on. Yeah, because you haven't been flown out in space to look at it, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I have no actual proof myself, but, I mean, from my education and from the way I observe things, yes, there is this round, but, I mean, I've never seen it for myself.
Right.
So I think we should all, like, that's the interesting thing about conspiracies to me is, like, you see this, like, really big judgment point where people are like, this guy's an idiot, he's a complete, but
yeah, because I think that,
in their mind.
Right, that's sad. Isn't that scary?
Right.
No, but isn't that scary?
It's crazy.
No, what's scary is that they actually think they're right about something that's so ludicrous like that. Like, the Earth is flat. See, I think that's crazy. It's almost like you should look at them and just go, wow, what happened to you? What, like that. I don't listen to him and think, boy, this is really a great point there. I mean, how do we know all those astronauts aren't just lying? I mean, as a matter of fact, when you look out that window, it's just a round thing, even though it's rotating and it changes what continent you're looking at. But hey, maybe that was just some weird movie shot through it's ridiculous, okay? I mean, really, a flat, like there's this little, like, flying carpet Earth out there floating around. Yeah. And the thing is, you can't win an argument.
I just like to...
Right.
No, I just like to, like, let people talk, and, it's interesting to, like...
Yeah, I let them talk, I just don't believe it.
Their beliefs are crazy.
Right.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no need to believe what they're saying. It's just like, it's like, let's hear people out,
Right, but see, like in the Delphi case, when people are talking about, oh, look, those are people standing there. Well, those are actually metal barriers. Do I have to keep listening to them say the same thing over and over and over again just to keep hearing them out? At some point, you got to look at them and go, you're crazy. I've already shown you this 50,000 times. Here are the barriers. Okay, so what point do you have to, can you stop listening? Okay, what point can you stop listening? Because you're saying you just want to keep hearing them out, and hearing them out. And I'm trying to figure out
I'll just say what got me. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, what got me started is, I mean, it's a sad tragedy, but 9/11, it's like, could this big tragedy really be an inside job? And it's just like, you see some crazy stuff either way. No matter
there are some things I remember. I remember it was there. I mean, I remember looking into that too. Okay, like that was how many years ago was that? God, 18 years ago now. So it was like, I remember at first I was thinking, that's some crazy crap. Like the let's see. So the Pentagon actually had these people come over and try to determine what would happen if a jetliner flew into the Pentagon. Okay, and they had a pilot there and other people. This is prior to 9/11, and they were going through it and everything, and just trying to see what would happen. And then apparently the same pilot that was at that meeting is the one whose plane crashed into that building. See, that stuff's kind of weird, right? Like, oh wow, like what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
But it still could just be.
I might be sounding crazy, but I almost am into alternate realities. I don't know. Like, who knows what's going on,
Oh, here we go, everybody. Here we go. Alternate realities.
I don't know. Maybe we're getting crazy.
No, go ahead.
Like, I think things are multiply true and untrue at the same time. Whether how crazy that sounds, I think your reality is that, whatever it be,
Sometimes there are realities, though. Isn't that weird? Yeah, like maybe, okay, here's what you could say is like you have I am on this planet and everything that goes on is just my experience. And nobody else, nobody even really exists. It's just me, right? And maybe that's just the same way for everybody. You're there and nobody else is actually here. You're just... Oh man.
Yeah. Who knows?
No, I'm just saying, but the thing is some stuff is known though, right? You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't know. That's the crazy thing about information is like we got information just overload. We have no clue what is real, not real. If it's,
Okay, do you admit that 1 plus 1 equals 2?
We have no clue.
Does 1 plus 1 equal 2?
In our world, yes.
Oh God! What world wouldn't? Okay, you take an object. There's one here and there's one there. You put them together. That's 2 everywhere, right? Come on, is that true?
I would hope so, right? But
I think it's just in another dimension. 1 plus 1 would still equal 2. All right. So here's the thing:
Maybe not.
Now, how could it explain how it would not in another dimension? There's a 1 and another 1, and you add them together.
Some force we have no clue what it is.
Oh, I know what it is. In another dimension, 1 actually equals 1.5. I get it. So then when you add them together, it's 3. I see what you're saying. Okay, I get it. But anyways, if somebody comes up to you and
I want to live in that universe.
Okay, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, listen, 1 plus 1 is 2 in this, they come up and say 1 plus 1 is 17 in this dimension that we're in right now currently. Would you say, hey, wow, that's really interesting. Wow, that's great. Let's keep going. Now let me just say it over and over again. Oh, wow, that's great. And 3 more people show up. No, it's really 17. And here's why. It's because I deem 1 to equal 8.5. Okay, and so we're getting 17 out of it. And then, wow, that's very interesting theory, sir. Let's keep going with that. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's stuff like that that's it's just pure lunacy.
It is purely enjoyment, and like that's where I find a lot of fun. I'd rather spend my time enjoying that kind of fun versus politics or some
no, I mean I do look into that stuff. I mean the thing is there's sometimes I look at conspiracies and stuff, but here's the thing is I'm doing a crime show where facts rule the day.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be doing a crime show and then say, oh, look at the face in the grain of wood. It doesn't mean anything to any, but on the side, do I think sometimes, like for example, the Kennedy assassination, I think there was a conspiracy there, possible. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that, I've looked into that a million times.
Yeah.
So
you got to wonder, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff, Jack Ruby, literally saying, hey, you guys will never know what really happened here, and then he dies miraculously like days later in the jail there. Yeah, it's just the whole thing. I mean, don't you think it's weird that like here's this guy, he says, hey, I didn't do it, I'm a patsy, right? And then he gets killed by Jack Ruby, and then he gets killed. It's like they're both dead like so quick. Soon, and nobody can say anything now, right? So that stuff's weird.
Exactly.
Stuff like that, right? So of course those are things you can talk about, but
but
what
whether
do you do
we get anywhere is regardless. I mean, we can't do anything about it. I mean, but all we can do is have, fun, right? I mean, not necessarily these are sad situations, but I mean, all you can do is explore it, and then I don't know. I just hate when people judge other people for thinking crazy when, we're all kind of crazy, believe it or not.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, the thing is here's the thing with conspiracies is they're an absolute waste of time. I mean, not a waste of time. If it's fun for you, then it's interesting and you can go on the rabbit hole, but you never end up getting anywhere. You see, like you can go over these over and over again, watch Loose Change 50 times, like I guarantee you have, and you've seen the movie a million times, and after the millionth time, nothing's going to get done about it. There's no evidence at all. It just sounds interesting.
Yeah, but don't we live in that world continually? Like, nothing ever, you never get a solid answer on anything. Never. I mean, rarely. I mean.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of weird sometimes, like even when you're covering crimes, you get the press conferences, and then the news comes out first, and they say different things. And you go with that because those are the facts, quote, facts that you know now. And then all of a sudden, the press conference comes out, and everything changes. Like in that case just recently with the guy, hell, I can't remember her name, but the one that was the call girl, or not call girl, baby daddy, baby mama case, or baby daddy, baby, whatever the hell. God, now I can't remember. But anyways, but like they had these documents, and like all the times were different later. Like it completely was different. Yeah, Mackenzie Lewick, right? Yeah, so it got completely different. I mean, like, first they were saying it was 1:30 when this, and then all of a sudden now it's 2:07. Everything changed later, and so you wonder, like, how did that get reported so off the first time? Right? So, but then, because I was wrong, how do we know what the police then put down later is correct? See,
exactly.
But that's where I'm at, though. See, once the police report something like that, and they're the only ones that know it, then you kind of just have to accept it as what it is. Because you're not going to ever get to see the ping data for yourself to make a decision, right?
But deep down, there's a possibility that it didn't.
No, there's a possibility, like a remote possibility.
Yeah. I just want to let you know, I've been dying to pick your brain on this kind of stuff for a while now, because been covering cases. I just figured. Yeah.
See, I don't mind people talking about conspiracy stuff, but in the crime world, it doesn't work that well unless the facts are leading towards that. And then when I say shunned and avoided, I mean the people who keep saying the same tired, like the whole Sandy Hook thing. The people who say that are embarrassing. Okay, you're mocking all the family members of the children that got killed. And they're out there suffering, and you're kind of just making fun of them, basically. Oh, it's not real. Oh, do you see the way that guy was looked at in the press conference? He had a big, he kind of had a smile on his face just before he went on the air, and then he started crying, and then he was like, come on, people. Let's wake up.
I hear you.
But
I mean, we do know of actual, real conspiracies that ended up being true. Like what's the Northwoods? That's a real false flag that was ended up being a true thing.
Right. Do you ever notice how everybody always says that? Like every single time there's a mass shooting or anything like that, the first thing that comes out of, I'm not sure, people like, I'm not going to say people like you, but conspiracy-minded people, they'll say, oh, it's a false flag. It's a it's always first, like this didn't really happen, and then they start looking for how it didn't happen instead of just looking at what's right in front of their face, Well, because maybe that's it. What they put in front of your face is the illusion, Gray. It's behind that. Come on. Yeah.
But do you know anything about Operation Northwoods? I'm sure you do. You're very educated person,
well, the thing is, I've heard of it, but I don't really. If you start talking about it, I might be like, oh yeah. I just don't remember.
I mean, it's an unclassified. Just shortly, it's an unclassified document of an actual false flag that was known to be real.
But what was the event, though?
It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, but what was the event like? What was it about? Like, what happened?
If you want to pull up the Wikipedia, it's pretty interesting once you read the whole document.
Well, just do the quick synopsis of it.
I'm not super educated on the subject, but it is an unclassified document of a false flag.
Okay, but you don't even know what it's about. But you're telling me to. Okay, but come on, you just did what you said everybody else not. You're doing a.
I mean,
you're claiming something.
I don't have all the.
Right.
You could. I mean, it's just for the viewers to listen or to look up. You know.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've done my research, but I mean, I can't. You know, probably adequately.
Okay. What's it called again? Northridge. Northridge.
No, Operation Northwood.
Northwood.
If you just want to do a quick Wikipedia.
Okay.
And just do a quick synopsis of it.
I've definitely heard of it before. I just don't remember what the hell it was about.
You can read a quick little thing. It's super quick.
Okay, so here's what it starts off. The first sentence even has the word proposed in it. Okay, was a proposed false flag operation against the Cuban government that originated with. Yeah, I remember. Actually, I do know this is the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. That's how it all came about. So I just didn't know what it was called. So let's go. So it went the government that originated with the U.S. Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States government in 1962. The proposal called the Central Intelligence for the Central Intelligence Agency or other U.S. government operatives to commit acts of terrorism against American civilians and military targets, blaming them on Cuba. Our Cuban government, and using it to justify a war against Cuba. The possibilities detailed the documents included the possible assassination of Cuban, sinking of boats, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I just think it's super interesting. It's an unclassified document, you know, that they actually, I mean, I don't know if it was, you know, truly real. I just think it's super interesting. And yeah, again.
Yeah, I mean those have happened out there. I mean, there's been like the I think World War I started on something like that, where somebody, I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know the whole thing, but Archduke Ferdinand. Well, somebody got killed, you know, in an assassination, and it led to this, and the other thing, and then World War I.
Well, what it was over a sandwich, I believe, and someone took a wrong turn.
Okay.
I believe.
The butterfly effect. Crazy. The butterfly effect, right?
Yes, it is very much so.
God, come on.
Well, I had my fun with you. I had my fun with you tonight.
Well, I thought it was cool.
You taking my call.
Well, I thought it was pretty fun. So
yeah.
You should call in again.
I had a lot of fun with you guys.
Yeah.
So tell all the freaks hi for me.
I will.
Pleasure.
And what was your name again?
My name was Brian from Utah.
Or it still is. It still is Brian. His name still is Brian. It wasn't a was, unless we are in an alternate universe. We don't know.
Yeah, was that multiple universes?
Was that really Brian, or was it really? I don't know how to say Brian backwards. Nadarb, something like that.
Narb.
Right. We just don't know at this point. All right. Well, hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate you calling in. Good stuff.
Right. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
You too, bud. Yeah, that was Brian. That was kind of fun, you know. I'm just not really conspiratorial when it comes to true crime, you know. There's other stuff out there that, you know, seems a little weird, but when you're doing true crime, you guys start going down the conspiratorial route. Yes, more people like to watch because it's more fun. Okay, but to me, it's not fun. I don't like it. Because you get to the element, when you're doing the weird sort of crazy theory, conspiratorial stuff in true crime, I start thinking that what you're really doing is trying to get views instead of covering the case correctly. You know what I mean? You're just trying to look at an angle. Like, I mean, for example, the debunking that I did today, you know, that I feel like that's kind of what's going on some of those channels, is that they put out stuff purely for the sensationalistic purpose of it, to get views on their channel. Okay? So I appreciate all of you who come here to try to work through cases just by the information that's given, and then speculating on the facts that we know of. But of course, Brian will say, well, how do we know those are real facts? And that's true. Sometimes we don't know, but we're going, and that's why we evolve. We keep changing as more new information comes out, and we get the facts dialed in. Atolls. But look at that. There's like nothing there, right? Right there. Wow, look at that. You can see under the water there. Wow, that's crazy. I've never seen it do that on here. Look at that. The shine of the water and then the bottom there. Look at that. Wow, can you go through there and... That's crazy. Look at that. Like depth to it. Wee-hoo!
Boom! Good night, freaks!
Boom!
Boom! Good night, freaks!
Wow! Unbelievable! I don't know how people can live out there, but as you can see, there's houses in the middle of nowhere, and literally when you're, say, middle of nowhere, and you're living absolutely in the center of the Atlantic Ocean, or whatever the hell ocean that one is that we were looking at. Let me see, I don't even know. They're all connected at some point. I mean, it's like, yeah, Pacific, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Like, you can actually turn it like that, and you can't even see land. It's that big. I mean, you can barely see land on the sides, right? Now these ones you can, right? but that's just huge. Look at that. Like right there. Yeah, you'd almost not see anything. So I would think, like, if you lived right there, like on one of these little things, you're thousands of miles from anything. All right, but anyways, all right, everybody, thank you for showing up tonight. Hope you guys are just as tired as I am. And anyways, yeah, appreciate you showing up for all the shows, contributing to the channel, and until next time, everybody, be safe out there.